What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series, the Bad Batch Season 2 wave. So we have all the new figures and their newer designs from Season 2. So we have all of our troopers. I went ahead and did it on the mural side like this just because it's easier to fit all of the characters in here. And I guess we'll just go from left to right. So we have the Clone Commando, Recker, Hunter, Tech, Ekko, and Omega. And again, they'll be in their newer designs. So we'll go ahead and just grab Hunter here. And you'll see, so he's got a lot of this orange and bluish teal color and everything. So they'll look a little bit different. You can see more of the colors there on the side of the box. And then I love how on the back side it has all the accessories they're going to come with, because I love the layout to make sure, we get everything with a little bit of their story there. So it's just pretty cool to have them all in their Bad Batch Season 2 design. So we have that. So most of the Bad Batch will have all the same colors. We have Omega in the newer design. So there she is with like the hat and an improved version of her weapon. And then we also have the Clone Commando, like those Republic Commandos, just all in white this time. And we saw those throughout the show as well. So that'll be pretty cool to look at. So very cool to have all these. Of course, we've already looked at all these characters before, so nothing really exciting, just in their new colors and designs, but we'll have to compare them with those older ones. So let me go and get these out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with Hunter, who is the commanding officer of Clone Force 99, or the Bad Batch, which is a group of genetically altered clones with unique mutations, and he specifically has enhanced senses. So overall looks pretty cool. Looks relatively the same to the last, but obviously the armor's upgraded to much more colorful, and I will show you all those comparisons. They did change some stuff, like with some detailing and everything, but overall armor-wise it's going to be pretty much the same with the Katarn clasp that they just modified for their specific like Bad Batch designs, but then in this specifically, have it all painted. So he has the red scarf around his neck, red bandana still around his head with that like half painted skull face there, which looks pretty cool. Then like on his shoulder pads, you can see they're like white with some like tealish blue color, an orange stripe down the center again with like some scraping that looks like a tealish color. I don't know if they did that or if it's just part of the design like the Hasbro team chose, with some like actual teal colors underneath here. We see some brown, so like brown around the waist, up there on the arms, and then some reddish brown wrappings there around the wrist. Again, teal color gloves there, the reddish brown holsters there around his thigh, gray and white armor painted up, and down the leg he does have like this brown padding on the front of his leg there, so probably lost a piece of armor, so I had to replace it with this brown padding. Still has the armor on the other side and has some pants underneath there, so you can see especially around from the back, and there's even some like padding there on the back of his leg. So yeah, he must have lost his armor or something somewhere, and so he had to make shift with this like brown padding stuff, whatever it is. And then the boots on his feet, which look exactly the same design wise, just in a darker color this time. So we'll bring in that other one for comparison so you'll see the difference. But yeah, relatively looks exactly the same, just the minor modifications of switching like the under like body glove design and some of the colors of replacing of the armor. But for movements, the head will twist all the way around, so twist around there, look down that far and up that far, so good movements there in the neck. The shoulders come up to 90 and should have a little butterfly joint back in there, just a little bit back and forth, and can rotate around within there. We do get the single elbow joint that bends to 90 with rotation, and the wrist will twist around and hinge up and down specifically for this hand. Then we get the ab crunch, so up on the armor there, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then we get the hips that'll come up. Now it's hard to get his movements because of all the armor and stuff he's got, and then the attachment with the straps there for his holsters and stuff, so pretty hard, but it can go up there pretty close to 90, not all the way though. And then out to the side a little, we do have a thigh twist up in there, so it'll twist around. And then we also get the single knee joint that bends back to 90 with the rotation in it. And then down at the foot, we get the foot flex back and forth and twist side to side. So pretty much has the standard Star Wars movements, nothing new or different. Pretty good range actually with all this stuff. I feel we'll have some more limitations as we go through other characters, but they're pretty much all going to be exactly the same as this. But then accessory wise, first we get his backpack. So again, same backpack design we had before, just in a darker gray color with some orange painted up there. But we have the T shape there on the back that this plugs into, so we just slide it right in there. Now I don't know, I guess the scarf just gets out of the way there, so I don't know exactly how a scarf sits, like if it should sit like that, if it spins around, but I think it sits most flat and nicely where it's kind of twisted to the side there, so I feel that works out pretty well. So there he is with the backpack. And then we also get his helmet, so same helmet design, just obviously with the different colors. So again, the darker gray, the lighter gray on the front with the orange down the center. So with this we can just take and slide it onto his head. So there he's got the helmet on there. Then for weapons, first we get his vibro knife, so the same knife we've had before, so that looks pretty cool. And yeah, he has this holder here on his wrist that we can take and slide this into, so it fits right in there. The only thing I noticed is that it's much thinner, so like the handle and everything is much thinner on, but there he can hold that in his forearm. And then finally he comes with his gun of the DC-17 hand blaster, so we get 2 of those, and obviously he has the little holsters here on the side so he can slide them in each of there. But let's go and put these in his hands. So there, Hunter has both the guns. Now he has the issue once again, so this hand's just fine, no issue, but this other hand doesn't have a trigger finger, so he can't fully hold the gun, so you have to just kind of get it worked into his hand where he'll hold on to it. But I think overall that looks pretty cool. But we can do the comparison. So here is the older Hunter. So like I said, armor wise it's going to be pretty much exactly the same, just obviously painted more for our normal Bad Batch and the Clone Force 99 compared to what we have in their mercenary gear. So when they're on this color, it's their mercenary gear, but you can see the minor differences, especially as you go to the leg where he's completely armored up here to where he has the emphasized like clothing and padding and everything else. But everything else about looks relatively the same. Now I do have issues like getting this figure to stand. Not sure what's wrong with it, but it seems like time hasn't been good to this figure just in the way it works, where this new figure works out pretty nice and smooth, no real major issues with any of the joints or anything, and he works out pretty well. So very nice to have this version of Hunter. And next up we have Tech, which is the brains of the squad. He has high intellect and is the master of technology, and overall looks relatively the same to the last Tech. As mentioned, it's going to be pretty much the same with all these, look relatively the same, just with the new color of their mercenary gear. So you can see his armor is still like this, like more whitish, like a little bit of gray color, but still has the orange down the center, up on the shoulder there, a little bit of brown thrown in here on the sides and a little bit of brown there. Has a brown holster here on this side with some pockets and then things to hold his little tech instruments. This time he's got these blue pants on, so that's pretty neat with the blue pants, knee pads with a little bit of orange there, but still has the same sort of shin pockets or whatever these are there wrapped around his legs as the old one. So like I said, pretty much exactly the same, just changed some of the colors. But one thing that's really cool is he comes with goggles this time, and the goggles are permanently molded on, so you can't take them off, but you can see his eyes in there, so that's pretty cool. They still have like this yellow sort of lens to them, but you can see his eyes, and then has like the little flat top design with the receding hairline and everything. So it's cool that they upgraded that head design for him. But movement wise, we get that they'll twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far, so not as much movement as Hunter had. The shoulders can come up to 90 with the butterfly joint a little bit back and forth and rotate around. We get the single elbow joint bends to 90 with the rotation. Wrist will twist around and hinge up and down once again for this hand. Ab crunch in the middle, so crunch back and forth and twist side to side. Then we get the hips that come up to 90 and out to the side, thigh twist around, a single knee joint back to 90 with rotation, and then the foot flex back and forth and twist side to side. So decent movements once again, and as I said, pretty much the same, and we'll see that continues through here. Now before we do accessories, we'll just go and do the comparison. So here is that older Tech. We did makeshift these goggles. I forget what we took it from, but just cut out the lenses so you could see his eyes in there. But obviously you could just pop these off to be able to see what he looks like specifically. But you know, relatively same armor wise, you can see all the pretty much exact same details, just recolored this time with the new figure with their mercenary gear, but everything else is pretty much exactly the same, like I said, just recolored for him, so didn't really change much of anything on him. But for accessories, we get his backpack pretty much the same with some orange, has the antennas and everything. We can pop this into his back so it sticks off of him there. And then we also get his helmet, so we get an updated helmet with a visor that'll actually lift up, and you can see it's got the slots there to fit around his goggles, so that is pretty cool. But I love like his little antennas there on the back. Again, new color with still that light whitish gray, but it has some dark painting up top and everything, so looks pretty cool. Let's try and get this on him. So there's the helmet, and it does fit. It's a little bit hard to get on him just because you have to like get it worked around the goggles, so a little bit more difficult there. But there you can see the goggles there now in the face, and then you can set the little visor down on it so it can be able to, you know, do the rangefinder and all that sort of stuff. So pretty cool to have that. So I do like having the building goggles like it does in the show, where it sits along his glasses with his mask, but then also has the visor that comes down as well in front of his face. I feel it's a little bit too far off. I feel they could have put it a lot closer to his eyes, but I guess, you know, for lifting it up like this, they did it that way. But pretty cool to have that at least, so that's awesome with that new upgraded design. Then we also do get his tools, so pretty much the exact same tools he already had. So we had the 3 little tools here that we can stick into the pouch. So we have our little clamp piece here first, we just stick in. Then we also have a little hammer design, and again, there's all these little slots on the belt here that we can just slide these into. And then whatever this little like stick piece thing is, I'm not sure what it does exactly, but we can slide that in there as well. So now he has all the little tools there on his tool belt, which is cool. And then finally, weapon wise, we get the DC-17 blaster again, so we can put this into his right hand. So there's Tech fully kitted out now and looks pretty cool. Like I said, I really like this a lot just because of the helmet, so I think that's a nice needed upgrade, so I like that a lot. But everything else, like I haven't really mentioned it, but I don't like these as much because I don't like all the weird colors. I definitely prefer our first wave of the Bad Batch figures much more. I just like this, like the upgraded helmet. It'd be nice to be able to put this on the other, which I guess we could just switch the head. The only difference is the helmet colors won't match, but I guess that's not really a huge deal. But overall, I think it looks pretty awesome with that new upgraded helmet, and the rest, looks relatively the same, but still cool to at least have tech. And then we have Recker, which is larger and stronger than the average clone and serves as the muscle and demolition expert for the squad. So he looks cool once again in his mercenary gear. Now he's more upgraded as compared to Tech, how Tech, is relatively the same, just recolored, but he has upgrades much like Hunter. So when I bring in another figure, you'll see like, right around the midsection here, he's more switched out stuff, but again, has a lot of the same colors with the orange and the darker gray, and then some of the brown colors. So a little bit of brown or tan here on the forearm, a little bit of brown, a little bit like a brownish gray, maybe here around in the midsection, with a belt around the waist with some pockets and everything. Has a thigh holster now, which is cool. Brown gloves on his hands, and then down his legs you can see he's got the darker gray with the lighter gray with orange, and on his feet his boots are now a brown color as well. So again, not a whole lot of change though. You can also see like he's got like pant designs on there as well with brown, but like a grayish color up there towards the top. So a little bit weird with their under outfit designs, but still overall looks just like Record. Movement wise going to be pretty much the same. So the head twists around, can look down and up that far. So again, not as much movement. Shoulders can come up to 90. Again, a little bit of butterfly joint and rotate around. The single elbow joint that bends to 90 with rotation, and the wrist will twist around and hinge up and down once again. Then we have the ab crunch in the chest section, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. The hips will come up and out to the side, thigh twist in there, the single knee joint back to 90 with rotation, and then the boot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So again, good movements on him. Like I said, it's weird compared to these older figures because the older figures, have a lot worse movements. They're like stiffer and everything. All the movements are relatively the same. Like I said, they're just more stiff and cause a lot of issues trying to get them to stand and everything. But these all work out nice and smooth. So it's nice to have those upgraded somehow. We'll do comparison wise. So here is the old Recker. Again, you'll see pretty much a lot of the same stuff, like, with the chest plate and everything. But you see like the shoulders are switched out. So different shoulder design, not just, repainted, just completely different design. And then same with like the little underarms there. Again, they're pretty much the exact same design like this section, just sort of switched color wise. The midsection, as I mentioned, is really different. So you can see that whole section is changed in there. And then the same design down the leg, just obviously recolored for them. So it's nice, like I said, to have at least some more upgrades. It's not just, completely reuse with new paint job. Like they switched out the whole midsection and under the armor piece here. So they did do some work on these. But accessory wise, pretty much the same. We get the backpack. So his backpack we can plug into his back just like that. We also get his helmet, again, pretty much same helmet design, just probably in a darker gray color this time, but still has like the skull painted on there. We can slide on his head. So there's the helmet on his head, which looks decent. And then we also get his big knife once again. I love the look of the blade, how it has like this pearlescent blue to it, which is cool. But he has the big sheath down here on his leg that we can slide this into. So it just sits right down in there in that big sheath. And finally, we get his gun of the DC-17M interchangeable weapon system. So just the bigger version of the gun, which is pretty cool. Now, I like how he does have the thigh holster here now, so you can put it in there. I don't know how you get it to actually fit in there, though, because the gun's way too fat. So I'm not sure what goes on here or how you get this in there. Oh, it seems like it unbuckles there or something, or it just came undone. Not sure, but it looks like you can undo it and then sort of get it wrapped around here or something and buckled back in so it'll store the gun there. But it easily, could just fall right out. So not the best system for that, but let's go and just put this in his hand. So there's Recker with the gun, and he does look pretty cool. So again, nice design, not a whole lot different. I don't like the colors as much, but still overall he looks pretty cool. And then we've got Ekko, which was formerly a member of the 501st that was turned into a cyborg by the Techno Unit and saved by the Bad Batch, which would then join them. He was a stickler for the rules and would repeat orders, earning him his name of Ekko. So again, he's in his mercenary gear, so pretty much relatively the same, just minor color changes. And again, I'll show you that comparison, but looks, relatively about the same, has a lot of the same designs. So again, he's turned into a cyborg, so he has the big like head attachment, much like Lobot had, and all the little whatever those are called, indentions or whatever cybernetic pieces there are attached into his head, and still has the paler color skin and stuff from being all sick like the Techno Union did to him. And then the recolored, so I love the red around the neck, and then the armor, so he's got the orange, the dark gray, the lighter white almost color, nice little shoulder pads on there with a little bit of painting on the one side. Of course, his cybernetic attachment there for his arm, so just a little bit there, and the normal arm on the other side. I love like the red gloves and stuff and the orange running down. It seems like his chest plate is pretty much all going to be exactly the same, and then down the center as well. So he's got like a brown cod piece, and then dark gray armor there with the nice comma hanging around here in tan color with gray pockets and pockets around the belt there, and then the brown legs going down, so for the lower armor as well in brown, to the darker brown boots there as well. So overall looks, like I said, relatively same. The only seem like they really like switched out the armor on his arms, so on the shoulders and down the arm there. It seems about the only thing that has been changed. Everything else looks relatively the same, just recolored this time. But movement wise, the head will twist around, look down that far and up that far. So again, not the best movements, but it's not bad. Shoulders up to 90. You get the soft shoulder pads can get up there to 90 with a little bit of a butterfly joint and rotate all the way around. Now for this arm, we get the single elbow joint that bends around there, can go to 90 and go backwards as well. And there is some rotation, so there's like a little cuff right here, so it can rotate around there as well. But for the normal arm, we get the single elbow joint that rotates there, and then the wrist twist around and hinge back and forth for this hand. Then we get the ab crunch in the middle, so crunch back and forth and twist around. Then the hips will come up, so again with the commas, it's hard to get it out of the way, so we can really try and force it up there to 90, and then out to the side, just a little bit of a thigh twist up in there, and the single knee joint back to 90 with the rotation, and then the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So Ekko works out great. Once again, no issues with any of the joints. Now comparison wise, we have that older one, so you can see that there. You can see they updated like the faces a little, like it looks a little, I want to say, more realistic, even though it's got a little bit more shininess, especially compared to this other one. But as I mentioned, the arms, they are the only thing they really changed besides the color. So you can see they switch out the armor pad, but otherwise it's just the color. Everything else looks exactly the same, just they switched out the colors for this new mercenary gear. And for his accessories, we get his backpack. So we have his backpack design again with some more orange on it, so they pretty much just added orange to the backpacks and changed the colors, so there his backpack sits on him. We also get his helmet, which has the specialized helmet that has the cutout for a cybernetic attachment, and with this usually you can undo it there to help get it around the back of him. So there's his helmet on, and like I said, it kind of fits around his cybernetic there in the back, and overall looks pretty decent. Again, has some paint with like some of this cream color there in the front, and then the shades of gray, so overall that looks pretty cool. I wish it had a little bit more pop of color in it to sort of match with the rest of his outfit, but it's just fine. And then weapon wise, he comes with the DC-17M blaster as well that we can just stick into this hand. Again, it doesn't have the trigger finger, so you just have to kind of place it into his hand grip wise. So there's Ekko with all of his equipment now, and looks pretty cool. And our last member of the Bad Batch is Omega, which is the female clone of Jango Fett that escaped the bombing of Commando with the Bad Batch, joining them for their adventures on the run from the new Empire. Now, figure-wise, she's been the most upgraded just because she has a lot of pretty much chains. The only thing I think that's probably the same is like her lower legs, like the lower legs into the boots, but everything else above has been switched out and upgraded, so it looks pretty good again in her mercenary gear. So she has this hat on that she wears. I don't like the hat, so thankfully she does come with another head that I'll be using because I just hate this hat. But you can see her blonde hair sticking out of the back, and just her face design looks relatively good. Just like I hate the design of this hat. I don't know why she wears it, but she has the red shirt underneath with this bluish colored like jacket on over the top, has a belt on with a strap that goes up and over her shoulder to be able to hold her weapon there on the back, and like a probably communicator there in that pocket, red wrapping there around her wrist, and then some gray color pants going down into the dark brown boots. So pretty cool, and the nice like small figures, like small in stature, so it's nice to have her in this like little kid form of figure where it's all nice and small, so nice to at least have her. But for movement wise, we get her head that'll twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far, so a little bit back and forth. Shoulders come up to 90 and rotate around. Got the single elbow joint to 90 with the rotation, and the wrist will twist around, and as you see the hinge up and down there. Then we get the crunch in the middle, so crunch back and forth. I don't really know how much she crunches. Maybe she just crunches at the waist since she's so small. There may not be a crunch, but yeah, right at the waist, and can twist around there as well. Then the hips will come up close to 90 and then out to the side. Thigh twist around, the single knee joint that bends back to 90 with the rotation, and then the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So decent movements, but obviously with her small body, it's got limitations with all the joints she can have and the range of movements. But accessory wise, as I mentioned, she does come with the additional head. So we have the head without the hat, so let's switch that out. So there she is without the hat, and unfortunately, like I think the face looks decent, like it's not horrible, but it just makes her neck seem really long now. So I don't know if they didn't get the hole like drilled deep enough in there or what the deal is. So her head sits up really high, so she has a really long neck now, so that looks a little bit weird and awkward, so I don't like that too much, but you know, at least it's better than the head with the hat. And then we get her weapon, which is the Zygerion energy bow, I think is how you say. So we have it here all like collapsed down and everything, which is pretty cool, and it has the little peg here that we can use to stick onto her back. So she has the little peg spot there that we can try and stick this in, so there it sticks on her back, so it's cool. We have that. That's a new accessory. And then we also have the bow all folded folded out that we can try and put into her hand. So we'll obviously need to take the one off the back, and then I'll try and put this in her hand. So there's Omega with the bow, and it's hard to really get in her hand. I think I might have to switch around. It may work a little bit easier if we switch the hands around. Maybe it'll pose it up a little bit better. But it has this new little grip on the side, so you can easily get it into her hand, because before she would just like hold on to it to like up or down here. But overall, I think it looks pretty decent. Like I said, just getting her hand maybe a little bit weird. Like I said, I may need to switch it around. But compared to the older one, here is that old Omega. So you can see, of course, from season 1 where she's got like the Commando gear in, so she looks much different, but still has the same bow. The only difference, like I said, is it has that little grip on the side there. Is the only thing they really upgraded. You can see the color of like the pink has been upgraded, but the rest of the bow looks relatively same, just a little bit like additional details painted on or whatever there. But everything else about it looks relatively the same, so not much different. And then, like I said, the Omega is pretty much completely different except for the legs. So definitely like this Omega. It's just not my favorite because, like I said, the neck just sits up way too high. So may see if we can mess around with that, and then have to work on getting her hold the bow a little bit better. But overall, it's cool to have Omega. And our final figure today is the Clone Commando, which is an elite clone trooper that served the Grand Army of the Republic, but following the Clone Wars, the Commandos were assigned to protect the Empire's Advanced Science Division under Dr. Hemlock. So they look pretty cool. Of course, we've had these before with the Republic Commando figures, just this time in all white, so it's pretty cool to have that. But he's in the Katarn class Commando armor, so same as all the Bad Batch members were wearing, especially in their first wave, just theirs was always more modified towards what they were, like their specialties and everything. So he's just got the basic class design, so pretty much all in white. But it's kind of weird, you can see in the camera at least the color wise, so like the helmet and the shoulder pads look more of a yellow, where like the center body here looks plain white, so it's just a little bit off colors there. But I love the T-visor with that blue color, which is cool. A little bit more of like a phase 1 sort of mouth design, and then has like the black body glove underneath and the white armor everywhere else, again looking just like the rest of the Bad Batch, especially like Hunter had pretty much this exact same design, just obviously colored instead of the all white. So it's just cool just to have the basic Clone Commando. Movement wise, the head twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far, so decent. Shoulders up to 90, over 90. No butterfly joint or anything though for him, and then it can rotate around within there as well. We get the single elbow joint that bends to 90 with rotation, and the wrist will twist around and hinge up and down for this hand. We get the ab crunch in the middle, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Hips can come up to 90 and out to the side. Thigh twist around, the single knee joint back with rotation, and the foot will rock back and forth and twist side to side. So same movements as all the others as well, just a little bit more range because there's less things to inhibit him. So I'd say probably better range overall. Now accessory wise, he comes with a backpack, same as Hunter had, just mostly all in white with a little bit of red details and some silver, the gray there up top. So we'll plug this into his back. So there's the backpack hanging off, so more white to add to him. And then he comes with the DC-17M interchangeable weapon system, much like Recker had, so the bigger gun there that we'll put into his hand. So there he's got the gun as well, and with that it matches up perfectly with our Republic Commandos. So here we have our leader of the Republic Commandos, and as you'll see, the exact same body, just obviously the Republic Commandos have all the like specific colors, but everything else about it's going to be exactly the same, just in all white this time. So just that same figure reused once again to give us a plain white Republic Commando, which is pretty cool. Well, that's me for our Star Wars Black Series Bad Batch Season 2 wave, where we got all of our Bad Batch characters just in recolored designs in their mercenary gear. We got Hunter, Recker, Tech, and Ekko, as well as Omega. And then we also had the Clone Commando in here as well, filling out that wave. So overall, pretty cool to have these figures. They're all not necessary. Like I said, for me, I preferred the designs of the other figures much more. Like that's the Bad Batch I prefer. But it's nice, to, like I said, to have this Omega. I just wish her head didn't have so much room. And then getting the Clone Commando as well is pretty cool just in the all white. But like I said, I don't really care for all the colors on the Bad Batch characters themselves, but overall not bad waves. I really love the figure designs. Like I said, they have all the exact same joints as those older ones. They just work out so much better. They're easy to get stand and posed, and everything else works out so much better on these for some reason compared to them. But overall a pretty decent wave, I must say. Even though I don't like the designs, it's very cool to have all these. So let me know what you thought of these down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this review, let me know with a thumbs up. But I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.